Hi Mike, you excited about doing our first video?
I am, yeah. New territory for us. We've been threatening to do this for as long as I can remember, and
Yeah.
maybe the fact that we're on lockdown gives us the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, it's the perfect opportunity to just really help people who are new to Microsoft Teams and understand like the collaboration side of it a bit more.
Well, I think most people have adopted Teams that perhaps weren't using it for video conferencing, for calling. We will cover that off in a separate video, but it's fairly self-explanatory and pretty intuitive, really. There's the sort of Teams side of Teams, which is worth just kind of covering off. There's a lot of people that will be using Teams now that have perhaps never been working remotely before, have always worked the same way, and perhaps want to take advantage of some of the functionality in Teams to make them more productive whilst they're from home. So I thought it was worthwhile just spending 10-15 minutes covering off the basics together. If you like.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
So to start off then, do you want to start off with like how to make a team?
Yeah, let's do that. So left hand side, you've got this is the Teams window we're viewing now. We have various menu options down the left hand side. One of the principal one is Teams. Teams is it can be whatever you want it to be, really, but it is the area with which you can create teams, and then there's the notion of channels, which is sort of subdirectories underneath that team, which we'll cover off in a second. I've created some demo teams down here. This could be a project, it could be departmental, so finance, marketing, sales, or it could be project A, B, or C, depending on what you're working on, combination of both. And it's just an area where you can collaborate centrally on the same subject matters, share documents, and because it's central, you kind of know where that information is, which I kind of quite like, because a number of times you end up, and you must have had this as well, digging through your inbox to find a document that had been sent to you. Who was it from? When was it sent? This at least keeps not just documents, but also conversations in one place, which is quite handy. Creating a new team is really simple. Again, this is a pretty intuitive platform. You go to join or create a team. You can simply build a team from scratch. You've got the ability to kind of control permissions, so you can make it public so that anybody in your organization can join without really an invite, or I can make a private team. So we'll call this Team D.
And are the teams restricted to just your organization?
No. So bear with me and I will cover that.
Okay.
At the moment, I'm just going to add you to this.
Yeah.
So you are within my organization. If I type to anybody in that box that's part of my own organization, and they've got a Teams license or Office 365 license, they would automatically be flagged up. I'm just adding you to this group.
I just got a notification.
Oh, great. So you're now part of this team, and it says, look, we've got a new Team D over here. You've been added to the team. I can now start a conversation with you as I would in any sort of chat bar, or if you're familiar with social media feeds, using the add function to tag you in something. Welcome to the team, and that's going to store now in that history of that team. So if I was sharing notes from a meeting or conversation, or simply asking you to do something, then that would flag up there and stay there. In terms of guests, you can add a guest. I was doing this prior, and I added me as just my Yahoo account. I added as a guest into this, and I've got certain privileges now. If I go to manage team, this little 3-button option here gives you the ability to administer any given team. I can add new members to it. I can edit the team. I can leave the team if I want to. But if I go into manage team, this has got guests in here. You can see that my personal account has been added as a guest, and I have the ability to edit guest permissions or member permissions, so that there are at least some restrictions to what they can and can't do. So they can they create or update a channel? Can they delete channels? If they're externally to your organization, you may or may not want them to do that. So a bunch of administration functionality and the ability to involve people both within your organization and externally to collaborate if you need to.
Yeah, and then when you add them in, they can see all the previous work.
Yeah, so they can see historical conversations once they're added, and indeed any files and folders that have been added prior, you can do that. It's important to say as well that you can control access not just at the team level, so principal level up here, but per channel you can do that as well. So the notion of channels is a bit like having subfolders or subdirectories in an example of a traditional file structure where you've got, say, marketing, and then you've got all the different subfolders underneath marketing, be it lead generation or promotion, PR. You can create channels for different subject matters. That could be different work streams or sub work streams. Really easy to do. Whenever you generate a team, you get a general channel by default. Just happens. If I want to add to the channels, again, using the 3-button administration kind of tab there, add a channel. That could be for pictures, whatever it might be. I can add that into there. And I now have the ability to manage this channel and also administer what people can and can't see. So I can have different members using different elements of the team or channels within it, which is quite handy if you've got certain information you keep.
Yeah.
Located to certain individuals and not the others.
Yeah, and then within each channel, what documents and files can you upload into it?
Whatever you like. So it's pretty easy to do. You've got this idea of your posts here, which is kind of your news feed, and then you've got files in here. I can, if I know where it's located on my desktop or a certain shared location, I can upload it using the upload button. Equally, I can drag and drop documents into there, and they will then show up. It will say who it's last modified by and when it was modified. That's now available to all the people and members of the group. And if there were multiple members, I could tag them in here. I think this is just me in this particular one, so I can notify me as a guest. Documents are now uploaded to view. That they're now going to get a notification either within their own teams or via email to say you've been tagged in a notification. Similarly, if I did that with you, it would work the same.
Yeah.
So you can upload whatever you want really into here, and your ability to then collaborate starts.
Yeah. So with the collaboration, can more than one person work on it at a time, and like, can you track your changes and just stuff like that?
Yeah, so with Microsoft documents, like Microsoft Word, for example, you can kind of combine the functionality within Teams, but also the functionality within Word to work on the same document with somebody at the same time together. So, for example, whilst I'm in Teams here and we are on a call together, I can actually give you control of my screen or my desktop or whatever. And if I had this particular, let's do two things. Let's open the document. The document, when you click on it, will also always open in your kind of Teams window. So this hasn't opened up or booted Word yet. I can tell it to do that. But if whilst we're on the same call, let's assume we're working on a shared document, we're collaborating on it as part of a conference call. If I give you control of this now,
I am.
There's your little icon. we can both be working on this at the same time. Highlight stuff if you want to. I've just written that.
There you
now
go.
Highlighting that, saying no, I disagree, or whatever. You can add comments to that, or change it if you want. So we can be working on this document at the same time. It's really quite intuitive. Equally, I can do the same by opening it up in the desktop application. I can add notes to it or whatever. If I now close this, that document would have been auto-saved. So all being well, those saved. So the changes are there. If we ended the call and I stopped giving you control over this, which I'm going to do, it's not I don't trust you, Lizzie.
Start opening everything.
Yeah. So if you're now we finish the call, we're not working at the same time. We still have changes to make. I can now make my changes to this document. Continue to make changes. I could even mark certain things up if I want to. That'll mark up when I posted that. You will be able to see when you access that at the time that you're comfortable accessing it. And that could be the same. So I could still be in the document when you logged in. So you could be coming online now. I'm still working on the document. We're not on a shared call together. You could access this and you could start to make changes at the same time.
Yeah.
It is useful to use the track changes functionality so that if there's a master or original author of the document who is the ultimate final editor, if you're making changes to their document, they have the ability to either accept or decline those changes. But again, that's now going to be saved. As I move away from that, you could now enter that document, make your own changes to it as you see fit, and the collaboration kind of continues. So it's a really good function. You don't need to sort of use the old school check-in, check-out functionality, although you can still do that. So if you know that you're going to be working offline on this, you do have the ability to, it's not quite, let me move this quickly. You do have the ability to check this document out. So if I was going to go traveling on the underground or whatever, and I wanted to work on this document offline, I could download it, I could continue working on it, but I could mark it up to say, please no one else work on this until I re-sync the live copy and check this document back in again. You'll see that now come up with, I've checked that item out. Once I want to check it back in again, I can do that if I want to and say, right, discard the checkout, check it back in. It's now available to everyone to start collaborating. So you can avoid this, it's not impossible to create multiple versions of the same thing. That still is possible if you give it a new name, but it does help mean that you're not creating multiple versions of the same document.
And then with like the editing, is it just restricted to the team you've got there, or can you have other people come in and edit that document as well?
You can invite other people in. I mean, it is restricted by who you've invited into the team, but you can it can work both ways. People can request that they have access to that document. Let's say you've shared the link with somebody who isn't a member of that team. So if I said to copy link there, that create a share link for me. You can do the same there. So I can say, right, the document that I want you to edit is here. I could email that out to people, and people say, well, I don't have access to that team. So they may request access to that document, that team, and I can either accept or deny that. I can also add them to the team if I want to. But you're not necessarily restricted by that. There is the ability to kind of, on per document basis, give people access to edit documents without it impacting the rest of the team member.
Okay, yeah. And then like once you're done with a document, you can just download it off Teams into your files as well, can you?
If you want to, there'd be a question mark as to why you'd want to do that if it's now saved centrally.
Okay, where does it save off to then?
So there's a SharePoint backend to this. So it's stored in Teams, but ultimately it's a SharePoint backend in terms of where the document's saved. So it's available, highly available. You still need to think about data protection as part of this, which is an entirely different subject matter. But unless you are going to frequently take it offline and only work on it from home, there'd be a question mark as to why you'd now want to store a separate copy locally. But you can absolutely do that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then with the team, once you're done with the team, can you just like delete it all, or can you like just delete channels, or like the way you order them, do you have to have them in the left-hand panel, or can you get rid of them? I think you're still on mute.
Let's change that then. Firstly, if you've got multiple teams, as you will end up building up, so we've got 5 here, which are just demo teams. You might have a dozen teams in here, and all of a sudden they start to, particularly if you've got them open with various channels underneath, this section can get a little bit congested. So you've got the ability to move the priority order of these teams. It's a simple left click, drag, drop, up or down based upon the priority level.
Mm-hmm.
You have the option once you're done with it to, let's say it's a temporary team, relating to, I don't know, a team social or something like that. You have the ability to get rid of the team altogether. You can leave a team. Let's say you're kind of done with collaborating with that group. You can leave the team. You can delete the team, or you can hide the team. So if I go ahead and hide all of these, so I've only got visibility of one team there, but in my hidden team, I've now got all of these teams hidden in a way with which I can still access them. It's almost like a virtual archive. They're hidden from view, but I can still access them if I want to. And I've got various kind of archive teams down there that aren't immediately of interest to me at the moment. And I can take them out of a hidden team. It's really easy. And now that feature's back here again. Yeah. Is out of a hidden team. So some basic functionality there. And again, going back to the kind of conversation piece, this is me. If I take a different one with you in it,
I think it was
show Team B. I think I added you to
this. Team D I was in.
So let's add you into here. Again, easy to do. Recognises you automatically. So you're now a member of this team.
Yeah.
Again, using the sort of app functionality, I can tag you in anything. If I've uploaded documents, I can do that here.
Yeah.
There is a bunch of other functionality within here, which we're not going to cover off in this section, but you can add various tabs. It integrates with all the main Microsoft applications, including Power BI, PowerPoint, etc. But then you've got a bunch of other third-party or associated programs which you can also merge into here for additional functionality. We can start having a conversation, as you would a sort of an IM function, and those that are fans of emojis and GIFs, you can use those. There's also the ability to kind of attach files from within the news feed here, which once you do that, it will feature in files. There's also some other neat things whereby if you're part of a group, particularly now you're working remotely, you've got the ability to kind of give people some praise as well, which is rather nice. I can thank you for coaching me recently, which I really appreciate.
Well, you're very welcome.
Coaching on how to spell, I think that should be.
The pressure of the typing.
Exactly, yeah, always the way. And that then shows up. So that's quite a neat feature as well in terms of kind of team kudos and stuff like that, and you've got kind of the emoji functionality which you can kind of bring into that. So that's the kind of notion of teams and files and kind of collaboration and some of the administration functionality which people might find useful. And you don't need to be an IT administrator to kind of create your team. It doesn't always have to be work related either, depending on your IT policy. We've got stuff where we're simply sharing information about team or group socials or Christmas parties and sharing our collective pictures on those types of things, which all kind of just brings people together, particularly at a time when you're not physically together.
Yeah, definitely opens up that communication.
Absolutely, yeah. What have I missed?
I don't actually have any more questions on that. I think you did a really good job. Thank you.
Oh, thank
you. I'll send you a praise.
Send me some praise, yeah.
Yeah.
We will on a separate call look at kind of the chat and the calling and the kind of the calendar function. It's worth noting that the calendar syncs with your Outlook. So as you can see at the moment, most people have got visibility of seen this before, but if you haven't, the notion of people being available is quite useful, even if it's in the kind of conversation or news feed style. You can see that currently it shows up that I'm presenting. So anybody that's got me in a team at the moment can see that if they tag me in something, it's unlikely I'm going to get back to them until I've finished presenting. Similar with you, it will show that you're busy and in a meeting because we've got this meeting scheduled in the Outlook. But we'll cover more of that sort of stuff in a separate session.
Yeah, I look forward to that as well.
Cool. We shall finish up there. Thanks for chairing the meeting, Lizzie.
Thank you as well, Mike.
Cheers.
Thanks. Bye.